Hey, Jonas here, back again with part 13 of the tree generation series. And it said something about doing something with the vines last time. I was looking over this here after having a good night of sleep, and I wanted to do something about a few things here before I continue. And I actually noticed a few things which I'm gonna tackle in this video. So one of the things is what we have up here, where we have the branches. They are spawning at some really thin branch, or the leaves are spawning at some really thin branches. And I also have a branch spawning all the way at the stem here. So I want to introduce something. So let's open up this. And basically what I want to implement is a minimum and maximum scale limiter or something like that. So it's gonna add a minimum scale. Spawn minimum. I don't really like these underscores really, so spawn minimum scale, which is going to be a float, and it's going to be on the leaves, and a similar one called spawn max. Wait a second, let me do something else. Delete that and delete that one and add, let's call it spawn scale limit, and make this a vector 2D. That's going to make it a little bit more easy to see in here. So save that. And let's set it to from, this is the minimum and this is the maximum. Fuck, they got X and Y? Really? Eh. Okay, sorry, I just gotta do this, okay? And see if it works as I intended to. And this is purely because I like to make this look better. So we're gonna call this float range, which is gonna have a float, which is we'll call minimum. Maybe there's it's gotta be and max. I have a feeling there's something already in there. Anyway, this might be totally overkill. And maybe I'm just already tired because it's already late here again. Float limit. What did I call it? Float range. Okay, there we go. Float range. So if I save this, I should select my tree. I should have a minimum and maximum. Well, I was kind of hoping they would end up like this, but of course not. It makes pretty good sense. Anyway, let's keep it this way. And let's set a minimum 0 and maximum at 1. So that way we have some nice default values. And what I want to do here, actually one thing first. Okay, let's backtrack a moment because I just noticed something. the angle of which they spawn is actually perpendicular to the branch itself, or more or less. And what I want to do instead is have them parallel with the branch itself. And since my up vector for the branches are c, the c vector, if we recall from the place where we spawn them, render tree, we set the forward vectors to be c. That means that it should be perpendicular, or this random should not be along the x but along the mag rotator from a c axis. So we're going to drag out the c axis from this tangent here. Whoops. And then it's gonna look like this instead. So if we set this to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, then we're gonna have this tree. So it's gonna be totally different. So now the leaves are gonna be spawning within the stem itself. But in order to get it out from there, we just need to add like minus 30, 30. And that way they're gonna be pointing outwards somewhat, more or less ish. And I think this gives it a way better look. By the way, you might also have noticed that I switched out the bark texture off video, and I have a different one in here. So I wasn't really happy with this one, this texture here. So I switched it out with a different one, which I borrowed from the examples tour 2014 something, which had this very nice texture here. So I just grabbed that out and plugged that in instead. So that was a little side note. So let's go back to the spawning logic here. So the tree generator. I want to add another, what did I put it? The render tree. I should definitely comment some of this stuff here. So all this stuff here is the leaves. Just comment leaves. Hang on a sec. I need to Google something. Okay, it's spelled leaves. Great. Alright. So right now I'm just saying if the random float, whatever, is less than the leaf frequency, then we're gonna spawn a leaf. So I want to expand this just a tiny bit, so that it also takes into account the new spawn limit stuff here. So I'll split that one. And we're going to add an and. And do we have a... That would have been too easy, right? Fuck. Okay, it gotta be greater than, is that greater than? Yeah, I think it is. Greater than the minimum. And it's gotta be less than the maximum. Ah, damn it. There we go. Oh my god, sorry for my OCD here. Okay. Very nice. So, what we need to be, we need the locals. Okay, we need to switch this. The local scale needs to be less than the minimum, and the local scale needs to be greater than. And wait a minute, this one needs to be a greater than. This not greater than. So this needs to be greater. I hope I got this right. Let's see. Okay, so we can see we are getting a branch down here to begin with. I'm just going to put this to the side here, and if I expand this one and say it needs to be a 0.9, okay, that 0.8, okay, 0.8, yes, that means it's not going to spawn at the bottom. And if we don't want it to spawn all the way up here where they become really thin, actually, yeah, here we have one. So let's say we want this to be at least 0.05. What? There you go. Then we have a few naked branches going out here, which I'm pretty sure would have had leaves otherwise. So that's, I think, gonna be doing quite a big difference. What is this? Oh, that's a sky sphere. Why did I move that one? And again, if we want this to be maybe a little bit more to the sides, actually what we could do is to say it should always be 30 degrees out. Then they are always going to be pointing that same direction. But if we don't want that, then we can add a yaw, for example, so minus 90 and oops, 90, something like that. Maybe what, minus 180, 180. Hello. Oh, now we're getting weirdness again. Let's not do that. Okay. A little bit is okay. Otherwise they're gonna go weird. I think this looks pretty nice. Although they are all on the same side, right? Okay, so after all, I do need this to be like this. Okay. All these rotators and stuff, I kind of get lost in them. Okay, that was it. I'm way more satisfied with this now. So one last thing I want to take a look at in this video is the texture for this guy here, because I'm not really happy with that. I wanted to introduce this subsurface scattering. I could figure out how it was working, and I was honestly a little bit tired. So let me just correct that while I remember it. The twig material here, I am gonna make a material instance of this so we can tweak things. We'll call this MI for material instance, and I am gonna take my twig. Oh yeah. And that was also another thing I wanted to tackle. Yes, because yeah, okay, I'm gonna come back to this. We're gonna do it for this one. So I'm gonna switch this out with the MI twig. That's gonna do nothing, but if we now go into our material and we have the, let me just make this big. So we have the texture with the base color. We're doing a lerp between something and something. So we have a color here. So this is the color. I'm going to convert this to a parameter and call this the subsurface color. Do people call this subsurface scattering color? Maybe. I think they do. I'm gonna give it a group. And then this is the panel stuff. Wind. I can't remember how I came to this. I think I borrowed it from somewhere. Maybe I did this off video. Honestly, I can't really remember. But it has it's using a Fresnel and a power node and lerping. Let me just preview that one. So this is the, okay, so it's pulling the black out quite a bit. And then I'm lerping between a very light version of the original and a less light version, which is this one. But including the subsurface scattering color. So I'm taking the base color, multiplying that with the subsurface scattering color, and I'm lerping between so it becomes lighter at the edges. That's at least the way it's supposed to work with this Fresnel. And then, yeah, lerping that with the lighter version here. And then I lerp that into the subsurface color here using the alpha map. But the reason why this doesn't work is because I was too tired to notice that I had my material set to translucent. So if I switch this to masked, then I get an opacity mask. So basically what I need to do is to plug this opacity map into the opacity mask. And the opacity here, I am gonna I think I'm gonna divide this by some number and feed that into the opacity, and then I'm gonna make a 1D vector, and which I'm gonna call default, and I'm gonna promote this to parameter and call this subsurface scattering subsurface scattering multiplier. And if I wanted to, I could also expose the wind, but I'm not going to do that for now. So let's see how it looks now. So we can already tell from this that it has changed quite a bit. So it has way more depth to it now than it had before. But the thing is, it's really dark because it's getting shadowed so much behind now. But we can actually see now it's shining through. Some of the leaves here are getting some shine through now, which is looking pretty awesome. If I take my material instance and I take my multiplier here and I pull this up, see, the further up I pull this, the more it's gonna shine through. So this may or may not be giving you what you want, but I mean it's a good, nice parameter to have exposed, I think. You can see it's out here, it's getting way more effect. And if I pull this down to about 1 or 0, so that way you can kind of tweak how much subsurface scattering. I have no idea if this is the way to do it, by the way, because I just learned this yesterday, kind of, so really I have no idea. But at least I think this is giving me a pretty decent result. So the last thing, this is actually, yeah, I think I can squeeze this in. So the thing is about my twig here. If I open up my the static mesh here and I show my normals, I will have this mess of normals. So the reason why that is because I have my, okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but all these planes, they I just turned them all kinds of different ways. So if I just throw this guy out and open up now a import my twig here, and here we go. So this is the twig that I had originally, and right now everything is editable mesh, so I need to convert them all to editable poly in order for this little trick to work. And there's a little thing I haven't really sorted out completely, so if somebody watching this and has a better idea or solution, please let me know. But basically what I struggle with is that if you select just one random plane here, because I basically want all of them to be attached to each other. So if I attach all of the planes to each other, whoops, or to that one I have selected, now all of them are pointing, all the normals are pointing the same direction, as you can see here. And for the process I'm going to go through in a moment, that's going to cause some problems. So what I did instead was to undo, and I put a little dummy box at the base here. Oops, that's a big one. Something like that, which I then convert also to an editable poly, and then I attach all the planes to this one. Okay, great. I need to undo a few more times. I need to go all the way down here. Okay, let's do this again. So I'll make a box like that, and now we can convert this to an editable poly, and then attach all the planes to that one, and that way I have my normals pointing. They seem to be pointing the same way. Anyway, let me just continue with this because I think I have a point with this. So I have the twig here because the branch itself, or the twig itself, it's not going to be, I don't want the normals to be changed for that, because the normals for that is going to be okay. But basically what I'm going to be using is a plugin called Slide Normal Thief. You can download this for free. It was created by these guys from slidelondon.com. So I just downloaded that, and once it's downloaded, it's gonna be found under Customize. You can find it in here. It's under Category, Slide Tools here, and then assign it to a key. I set this to my home key because that's what the guy that showed this originally did. So I just did the same. And then I need to place a sphere. I'm gonna place a sphere here and switch to my left view. And then I'm just gonna cut the bottom off because I don't want any normals going downwards. And just want to make sure that it's in the middle, and that seems to be looking pretty good. So let's activate the plugin, and the reference object is going to be the sphere itself, and the target object is going to be the box, it's called. And then I'm going to hit steal, and it's going to complain that it doesn't have any edit normal modifier, and that's because I forgot it. So go back and select the sphere, add an edit normals modifier, so we can see they are all pointing outwards, and select the tree itself and add edit normals. Oh, it had one. Quite a few actually. So why did I have so many edit normals? Okay, anyway, and then I'm gonna hit steal. So when I now move my, I move my sphere out of the way, we can see the normals are pointing more evenly out. And the thing is, let me just collapse all and delete this one. I don't need that anymore. The thing is, if I didn't have this little box here, it didn't work for me. At least I couldn't get it to work. So I'm gonna end this off by selecting that little element here and just deleting it. And that's all I basically need. So now I can just merge. So go up here and attach this to the stem itself. And that means I now have a new twig here with edited normals. So if I turn on the normals, we can see it's the twigs themselves are pointing outwards and upwards, kind of. It looks like they're actually pointing mostly upwards. I hope this is going to be okay, because some of these should have been pointing more outwards, I would say. But anyway, this is what it came up with. So let's go with this, delete that one again, and we're just going to export that as twig 1A. And then I'm going to open this one up, and since I already have it because I did this once, so I'm going to re-import this. What the fuck? Okay. Interesting. Let me just delete that one. What happened? Import. Okay, I don't know what happened. So let's put them back. The stem is this one, and the branches is no. Oh, it's the other way around. This is going to be, oh, twig and trunk. I think that's correct, right? Looks correct. So if we now turn on the normals, we can see they are pointing more evenly in outwards. So technically this should look better, but I'm not really sure. I can't honestly tell the difference. So this should be the one. This is with the edited normals. So if you guys, anyone out there with an eye for this kind of stuff, can tell the difference, Oh, do please let me know what I need to look for, because I can't really see the difference. This looks, I would say it looks pretty decent. And if I then switch it out with the original one I had, where I didn't edit the normals. Then we're gonna get this, which I also think looks pretty good. I mean, I suppose it's something to do with how easily you can tell that this is just planes or something. So this should be looking more planar, like it should be easier to see that all of these are just planes. But yeah, I mean, I don't honestly see the difference. But anyway, overall, I think these few changes here allowed me to create something looking a little bit more tree-ish. Just needs to move it a few times, and sometimes you get something looking pretty good. And maybe just play around with some of the settings. See if I can get something to... That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Oh, maybe it's a bit flat. Okay. But anyway, that's something I can tweak. What about this one, maybe? And what do I have for rotation? Roll? Range, length, and width. Okay, this is pretty decent looking, isn't it? Does have some pretty dark areas here and there. But then again, it's also pretty dense. Alright, so let's say I wanted this one generated. Let me just for fun, and before I end this, just merge this one. Not this one. God damn it. This one. So this is going to take a few seconds, I believe. And if it takes too long, I'm just going to cut the video. Oh, well, there we go. So we get this out of it, and 8,000 triangles. I would say this is not too bad. It's pretty decent looking. I mean, you can generate as many of these as you want and throw in your level, and you can even edit them if you're not happy with all these small pointy things it generated. Just pick them off. I would say it's pretty easy to do if you just put inside 3D Studio Max or whatever, or Blender, or what you prefer to do. So there we have it. What happens if I set this to movable? Okay, in that case, I should probably turn down the subsurface scattering modifier. Anyway, there's space for some tweaking and experimentation still. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I will get back next time and see if I can turn this into some kind of vine instead. And let's see how that goes. So thank you for watching, and bye bye.